And you are welcome inside the locker room on a feel good Friday morning. This is the Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1, where we love music, we love life, we love sports as well. It's a great time to talk about what's been going on in the world of sports in the last 24, 48 hours or thereabouts, and to look forward to what's on the menu for the weekend. My name is Ayokumi Kekiriakwe. It is 17 minutes past 8 o'clock. 20th day of February 2026. And just like that, only 8 days left in this month. Looking forward to all the positive energy going forward. It's going to be interactive as always. But before we dive into all that, just know that joining me this morning to take a look at the stories, because I'm never alone in the locker room, the one and only Tega Supreme. Tega, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank God it's Friday. I always
Whoop.
sound like I'm about to hit the club, but no such thing is happening. Completely different reality. All right, good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing good. First of all, congratulations, Team USA. See, when I'm watching USA Canada women ice hockey, it's a completely different thing. It's not just the sport, it's the rivalry. So
Mm.
that was a good match that they gave us. But Team USA came out top, so congratulations to them. All right. But what has been happening? A huge breakdown happened yesterday in Doha. Even
Hmm.
me, I was in shock. So we'll be talking about it. The tennis tournament is taking place in Doha. There was a big tree that fell there. Boom! Everywhere
Wow.
shook. Even
Wow.
at first, how the arena is applauding. They're applauding. A fight. Then at the end of the fight, they're like, "Wait a minute, what just happened?" That happened in Doha. We'll talk about that this morning. We'll also talk about some people that it was not a huge tree that fell. At least not to some of us. We did tell their fans that February is the month. If you survive February, I respect you. But even that one, they couldn't survive. We'll touch on those people in London, that bottling company in North London. We will touch on them this morning, and the derby that is taking place. We'll also go to Italy. I think this weekend Napoli is taking place on Atalanta. I don't think they're even part of the musical chairs now. 11 points behind Inter Milan. The music has stopped for them. All right, but we'll touch on those big matches in the Syria, and also some updates on the racism incident against Real Madrid player Vinicius Junior. All that and more coming up inside the locker room. But before we do any more talking, Ayokumi, I need to hear from the people. So tell them how they can be a part of the locker room today.
And the people we love to hear from. Send us a message on WhatsApp. Leave a comment on YouTube as well. The live stream is up and running at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Leave your comments there. Get your front row seats to all the excitement that is the locker room. And WhatsApp number to send your messages to is 0911 0911 Those are the ways to join us on the show this morning. All right, Tigger, let us begin our journey in Qatar. We're heading over to the Middle East, where Jakub Mensik prevented Yannick Sinner from reaching another final as he knocked the world number two out of the Qatar Open quarterfinals. What is going on with the Sinner?
Look, it's not even. I don't even know what to say about Tina. He did try his best, but Jakob Mensah was determined. Um, I would say this. It was an inspired performance when Jakob stood. See, we know people talk about the young players that are upcoming. Jakob Mensah is one of those players. He has the talent. He has the skill. Big serve. Great forehand. Then he has the soft touch to move you around the net and all of that. He knows how to play the game. The problem with Jakub Mensah is his body.
Hmm.
He doesn't always have the stamina. He can play a brilliant set, and the next one you see him rubbing a thigh, rubbing it back, or just looking like a flower that is wilting in the sun. So he's always had that issue hanging over his head. So even if his talent was glaring, people's question was, can his body hold up to most of the battles? Well,
Right.
yesterday I thought his stamina was going to give up because sometimes Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz, what they will do to you is that they can give you a set or two. The question is, can you play for 5 hours? That's
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
usually what they ask people. It's not that you cannot take a set or two. The question, can you play to where we are? Can you go to where we are going to? And most in general, people can go. But this time, it's the best of 3 sets yesterday, and Jakub Mensik definitely looked out of it in set two. Set one, he won the tiebreaker. Set two, he looked like he was fading away, and I was like, yeah, this was to be expected. Then after the second set where he was broken twice, he took the bathroom break and came back. As he came back, it was a completely different Jakub Mensik. It was as if there was extra oxygen in the bathroom. But he came
Mm.
out a little different, a little stronger, and he played his tennis. Just didn't back down from Yannick Sinner. Nothing Yannick Sinner did to him worked yesterday. Every serve he returned. It was a tough one, but he broke Yannick Sinner, and Yannick Sinner couldn't break him back. And before we knew it, match was over. So yes, brilliant performance by Jakub Mensik. But for Yannick Sinner, hasn't been the most exciting of years. In
Right.
Australian Open, the Novak Djokovic that he beats regularly was now beat him. Um, and remember, he was the guy to beat in Australia. And then he comes into this tournament, and there are certain players you expect to beat him. Maybe Carlos, maybe even Novak, but Jakub Mensik has added his name to that list now. So tough start of the year to Yannick Sinner. We'll see how it works out. In the other match before that, Carlos Alcaraz was up against Karen Khachanov, and that also went to 3 sets. But like I said, the question is, they will ask you, can you go where we are going? I think by the time Karen Hachanov got to the third set, he was like, please let this match end. I don't care who wins. I don't care who loses. I just don't want to die here. Because he had run the race he has never run in his life. He has hit the ball harder than he's ever hit in his life. I think that's the best Karen Hachanov match I've seen. And he's a former champion at this tournament. So
Wow.
um, but that's the best I've seen him play. However, he was playing against Carlos Alcaraz, so it was just an extra step too far. Tough one, but Carlos has made it to the semifinals, and Yannick Sinner hasn't. So let's see how
Mm.
today goes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes today. Yannick Sinner, you need to get your act together because, come on, what's going on? All right, let us talk about what's going on in Dubai from Qatar. We're heading over to the UAE, where Amanda Anisimova ended a tearful Mira Andreeva's Dubai's title defense on Thursday with a comeback 2-6, 7-5, 7-6 victory in the quarterfinals.
Look, at the end of that match, I can tell you, Andreva wasn't the only one crying. Her cry made other people cry. But Anisimova just didn't give up. So uh, Mira Andreeva, again, one of the bright stars on the WTA tournament. And she makes every match that she plays, hard for you to beat. And we're watching her, we're seeing her grow. She's somebody to look out for. But she
Mm,
does have these days where she steps up against brilliant players, equally brilliant players, or maybe more experienced players, and she's beaten. And that's what happened this one. She served for the match in the third set. She just couldn't convert. And Nisimova just refused to give up. After losing the first set, I thought it was over. She won the second set. Even that third set, I thought at some point, definitely they have beaten Anisimova now. She just came back. And I think it was the fact that she came back and she was so solid. Andreva started to cry. We got to
wow.
tie break. This girl started to cry. And this is why we say adults only should play. But I could understand her frustration because she played brilliant tennis. And somehow Anisimova just said, I'm not going anywhere. And that was it. And so
Mm.
it was the frustration of all of that. At the end of the day, Anisimova conquered Andreva. Yes, there were some tears at the net, and there was some hugging, and there was some petting, but she didn't give up the sport. She didn't say, "Oh, you're crying. Oh, yeah, take the win." No, she said,
for,
"Cry.
for
Sorry,
here.
but go home."
Go home and cry
But
some more
yeah,
if you want to.
that was a brilliant performance by Anisimova. Also, another brilliant performance by another American, Coco Gauff. She stepped on the court against Alex Ayala. Now, Alex Ayala's new name is, they call it, there's a group of fans, they call themselves UAE. And that's not a state. It is United for Alex Ayala. That's what, if you see UAE on the tennis court, that's what it means. They are not excited about the Middle East. They are just excited about Alex. I've told you, she has a cult following. She's from the Philippines, but she has a cult following that I can't understand. You know, you understand when people follow a particular tennis player because they're getting results.
Right.
You know, they're winning. But Yala just has promise. And all she has is promise. And there are a lot of fans that passionately follow her. But she stepped on the court against the Coco Gauff yesterday, and Coco Gauff beat the living daylight out of her. It was,
Uh-uh.
she begled her in the first set, and then the second set was 6-2. And that was even a kind result. Because the way Coco Gauff was playing up until she started serving, I think even in that match, she had a lot of unforced errors. Um, in the match. I think she came up to 51 at the end of the day. So it was not a, Coco Gauff didn't play her most brilliant match, and she begled you, and it was love too. No, now she beat her very well. She was like, she said when she stepped on the court that she knew she was playing against the favorite, and she appreciates the fact that, you know, Yala is bringing a lot more people into tennis.
Yeah.
But she stepped on the court to beat that favorite, because every single point the girl made, and there were few and far in between, there was noise on the court. So I think Coco Gauff prepared for a tougher match, but it was not as tough as she prepared to. But her preparation just made it a little harder for Yala. But yes, Coco Gauff is through despite all the unforced errors, and Nitimova is through. Jessica Pegula is through. So 3 American women to the semifinals in Dubai.
Mm. Things are heating up in that neck of the woods, and I'm just trying to just trying to imagine what the whole brouhaha about Yala actually is. Promise, yes, but beyond that, what exactly is going on? I have no idea. Anyways, we shall take a very quick pause here. When we come back in, we'll talk about what's going on with the Arsenal, who aim to ban title jitters in Spurs showdown this weekend. Keep it tuned. The Locker Room on Smooth 98.1.
Sorry, I still have the flu. That's why if you see my mic muted, I'm sneezing.
I understand. It's okay. It's okay. No wahala at all.
I don't know what I'm going to do. It's really nasty. Giving me giving me abs. You know how you sneeze so much that your muscles will start to your muscles will work out. My own sneezing has brought me abs.
Well, that's a silver lining. It's a silver lining. Oh my goodness.
It's a silver lining you take, Abby.
Yes, now.
Yeah. Oh,
As bad as it might be. Oh, I'm
so
sneezing, yes, but
painful.
at least abs they did.
So
All right, welcome into the second half of the show, The Locker Room on a Friday morning. Feel good Friday morning, I must add, on Smooth 98.1. The Smooth Breakfast is in full flow. And this is yours truly, Ayokumi Kekiriaku, the one and only Tega Supreme. Also with me on the show, we are doing supreme justice to what's been going on in the world of sports. And you get to join us as well. WhatsApp is right there. YouTube is also up and running. YouTube, you can find us at Smooth 981 FM Lagos, Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Please leave your comments there. You know, we always love to hear or read from you. WhatsApp number is 0911
especially if you're an Arsenal fan, please, we want to hear your title defense. Since you can't defend it on the pitch, at least you can defend it on WhatsApp, all right? So take note of the numbers. Let's go to that story.
All right, let's get into that story. Goodness gracious. And Arsenal must banish their untimely bout of title race anxiety as the wobbling Premier League leaders head to Tottenham for the North London derby. Now, Man City can actually pile pressure on the Gunners with a win against Newcastle, while Michael Carrick heads to Everton, aiming to bolster his bid to become United's permanent manager. But Arsenal is in focus here.
Yes, Arsenal is in trouble, serious trouble. So they had the opportunity. They played against Wolverhampton Wanderers, the bottom team in the Premier League. In fact, it's so bad that there are 14 matches, I think, to the end of the season. Is it 14 now? Um, 13 for Arsenal
Let
to
me
the end of the
take a look at the
season.
table.
Yeah, and there are 9 points. That Wolverhampton Wanderers had only 9 points. They were in single figure.
Arsenal have 11 games left.
And now Arsenal have 11 games left. Okay, it's
Yeah.
12 games. Sorry, it's 12 games in the Premier League. It's 14 in the La Liga. All right. So Arsenal. So 12 matches to the end of the season. Wolverhampton Wanderers had only 9 points on the board. That's how poor that club has been. In fact, when people play against Wolverhampton Wanderers, is the fact that is how many goals we are going to score. So at this point in time, you would have thought, especially after the first leg, where the match ended 2-1 in favor of the Gunners, that the Gunners would have said, you know what, this team doesn't seem so easy to beat. Let's play seriously and start hard. At least that's what it looked like they were doing. And when they scored in the first 4 minutes of the match, people said, okay, they are now serious about their lives. You would have thought that's what was happening. But after scoring the first 4 minutes of their life, nothing else was happening again. There were no attacks. It was almost as if they were just fooling around. And that's where half the problem was. At some point, you can't blame Mikel Arteta for haram football. He had players on the pitch. Saka was playing, Noni was playing, Martinelli was on, Gyökeres was on. He had a good squad that could put in a good amount of goals. And in the first maybe 5-10 minutes of the match, they did look like they had an express straight into the 18-yard box of Wolves. They just didn't put the ball in the back of the net. I kid you not, they were cruising instead of doing the job of scoring as many goals as possible. Because at this point in time, like I said, Man City was breathing down your necks. Goal difference was only 2 between the two clubs. You use this kind of match to start bad. But Arsenal players didn't take it serious. This was on Arsenal players. Before you talk about haram football, the players have to look themselves in the mirror because they did nothing for the rest of the first half. Came back in the second half. It was what's his name now? Or one of the Jesus boys. I'm calling his first name Piero. The fullback, the centre back
Nkapie?
that plays as fullback. Sorry?
Nkapie?
Hincapié. Thank you. That looks the hungriest. In fact, he was the one making the runs into the box to score the goal. Then he got the second goal, and you thought, okay, Arsenal will have it tied up from there. You know, Arteta even brought in 2 more. He was making striking changes, so you knew that he wanted to see more goals. 2-0 up, and from then on, Arsenal capitulated against Wolves. Is the fact that you've dropped points from 2 goals up against the bottom team on the table that is doing my head in. And it was the players. Before you say, oh, Ateta should leave my club, he's playing with the handbrakes on. The players on the pitch didn't even execute.
Hmm.
And so at the end of the day, before you look to the bench, first look at the players on the pitch. Why didn't you score goals? Why didn't you create chances? Why were you sitting deep? Against Wolverhampton Wanderers, that defense begs every weekend to concede goals. And Arsenal wasn't playing that brilliantly. So yes, ultimately they've dropped points so far. If Manchester City should win their game in hand, like I said, I don't like to count game in hand, but just for mentions, if Manchester City should win their game in hand, it's 2 points between both teams, and Arsenal meets Manchester City later in the season. So it looks like another title has beaten the dust. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. This weekend, before we start talking about 2 points, this weekend, Arsenal face Tottenham. Now, Tottenham have a new manager, so there could be that new manager bounce. So it doesn't get any easier from there. Wolverhampton Wanderers on the board of their on the paper, that was the easiest match of their remaining fixtures, and they dropped points.
Hmm. I think what actually is interesting is the fact that Arsenal have dropped points in back-to-back games. They drew against Brentford as well, dropped points
Yeah,
against Wolves, and
Wolves,
this is the business end of the season where all the points, getting all the points on the board are very necessary, especially
very
as you
crucial.
had
So, like I said,
a huge lead before.
it was the easiest match on the line on their remaining fixtures, and they didn't win it. So it's going to be tough. This weekend, especially, is going to be tough. New manager bounce, and the fact that they've already been leaking points, the sharks can smell the blood in the water.
Mm.
So even if they
Well,
were a little afraid before, they would attack now.
and all these things will play on the minds of the players. They've been here how many times in the last couple of seasons? It's easy to just get
I
yourself
told
derailed.
you all. I told you it was not injury that was Arsenal problem, it was character. They have no character. They don't have the mentality of a champion. But people will argue with me. Now they have strength in depth, and they're still dropping points. I told you it was not injury that made them to lose those 2 seasons. And the
All
worst
right.
person to chase you is Pep Guardiola, because Pep Guardiola is
Oh,
worse than a Kenyan masquerade. He will chase you.
the thing about Pep and Man City is that even though this season they haven't been as fantastic as they always been, they just seem to, I don't know, find that inner chakra to
Yeah, they
just,
pick at the right time.
so this weekend against Newcastle will tell a big story whether or not they are ready to chase Arsenal down and overtake them on the table. So we shall see how it works. All right, away from the Premier League, let's head over to the Serie A, where young Argentina forward Nico Paz continued his hot form for Como with his ninth goal of the season in a 1-1 draw at AC Milan on Wednesday, which prevented the Rossoneri from making significant inroads into Inter Milan's Serie A lead.
Yes, Inter Milan Serie A lead. They are clearly winning. It's 7 points now between AC Milan and Inter Milan, and Como did a good job. Um, midweek against AC Milan. AC Milan just couldn't make a headway. The first of all, it was a goalkeeper. In fact, it was a goalkeeper error night, because on the one end, Manion gave away the ball very irresponsibly. Nico Paz scored that goal. And then on the other end, Rafael Leao heighted the goalkeeper who had come out off his line, way off his line, and he heighted the goalkeeper. So it was a goalkeeper of a night of goalkeeping errors that gave both teams the goal. Unfortunately, AC Milan dropping points means that Inter Milan feel a little safe. And this weekend, they don't play a real tough match. Como plays against Juventus. That's a battle Juventus has to fight. But
Mm.
Inter Milan play against Lecce. On paper, again, easy fixture. It's Napoli that goes to play Atalanta. On paper, a harder fixture. So let's see how it works out for them. They are 11 points behind Inter Milan. At this point in time, Inter Milan should feel comfortable. But you know how it is with this league season. One or two drop points later, you're under pressure. So you might as well just play play well or play
Mm.
brilliantly to the end of the season. Yeah, but it looks like
True.
this Scudetto is definitely going to Milan and to Inter Milan.
But we also need to factor in Inter's game next week against Bodo Glimt. They are 3-1 down in the Champions League. Will they feel the strong side against Lecce ahead of that game?
Oh yes, I think at this that's what they need to, and the team is light. They need to play every match as it comes. Um, and the question, I think, yes, I think at first we're saying because they have all these midweek teams matches that they play, so they have all these extra matches that they play. They are in various competitions, and so it will be a struggle. But it hasn't affected them in the Italian Serie A so far. It's
Hmm.
affecting them in the Champions League, but not Italian Serie A. And that Bodo Glimt, I don't know what's in their house. When
We
they
need to
took Man
do.
City's scalp, we thought it was Man City's form. But Bodo Glimt have been very tough to beat at home.
They've taken multiple scalps this season.
Yes, so
Hmm. We need to check their pitch. Something is inside there. All right. Let's give some updates concerning the issues surrounding Vinicius and the racism allegation. Well, Real Madrid have provided governing body UEFA with evidence regarding Vinicius Jr.'s allegation that Benfica winger Gianluca Prestiani directed a racist slur at him during Tuesday's 1-0 win at the Portuguese club, according to the Spanish side who was speaking on Thursday.
Oh yes, sorry. Remember what I told you during the
Mm,
break.
it's
But
okay.
yes,
It's okay.
it's getting interesting. Like I said, it wasn't over by a mile. After the match report stated it. UEFA actually, has already opened the case. They are looking into it, and now they are collecting evidence. My question is, what evidence could they have given? Do they have audio that we don't know about?
Hmm,
Because that's like I said, this boy knew he wanted to say something ugly and put his jersey over his mouth. Except they have audio that can categorically show, because right now all they have is testimony of other players that claim to have heard. But it will be his word against, his word against mine, that kind of situation.
exactly. That's exactly what it's going to be at this point in time. But I'm pretty sure that the investigations will be thorough, and I hope that at the end of the day, the right conclusion will be reached. Let's head back to England.
So it's
And
great, but look, like I said, it's a tough issue. It's something that needs to be punished, and at least he has admitted to one other discriminatory slur.
mm,
So at the end of the day, I don't know how, I think there's a punishment coming, but if he were racist, it would be completely different. So I don't know what proof they've provided. Let's wait and see if it's beyond testimonies. But this weekend we go back to the La Liga, where Barcelona dropped points last weekend, and are now 2 points behind Real Madrid. So it looks like Abeloa may take this team to the title. They are 2 points ahead, 14 matches left. It'll be tough to see how this pans out for Real Madrid and for Barcelona coming back, because they are dipping in form where Real Madrid are increasing in form. And Real Madrid right now have fire in their bellies. So let's see how
mm.
it works out.
Let's see how that works out. All right, let's jump into this update concerning Liverpool. Is that okay, Tega? Or do we talk about Liam Rosinha? Okay, so let's talk about Liverpool boss Arne Slot and Alexander Isak. Time is almost up here. Well, Arne Slot has said on Thursday that he believes striker Alexander Isak is in the final stages of rehab and could return by the end of next month to bolster the Reds' push for Champions League
Yeah, so
qualification.
it's that will be interesting news, because they need all the help they can get at this business end of the season. So he has said that he may be coming in this weekend. They face Nottingham Forest, who, with their new manager yesterday, won their match by 3 goals to nil. So that again, like I said, sometimes this new manager bounce. Very interesting fixture for Liverpool. I'm very interesting for the way Liverpool seem to be finishing strongly. There are another team also that know how to finish strongly. So it's going to be really tough for us now at that top second position. It's interesting to see how it will turn out. But yes, with Isak coming back, let's see if his season will take a turn for the better. But yeah, good news for Liverpool. Also, to touch on the Liam Rosinha story, he comes out to say, "Oh, Chelsea's playing Burnley this weekend. An interesting fixture, because Burnley does know how to once in a while put up that kind of brilliant performance." But what was
Mm,
interesting was when Liam Rosinha was like, "Oh, racism has no place in football, and any player that's saying it shouldn't be in the game." I was like, "Do you remember that Enzo Fernandez was caught singing on a bus, and your team rewarded him with the captain's armband? Maybe because he was not around, they've not told him. He better, the people that live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. I like when when you come out and say certain things, but you have to remember that you have history. He was singing on a bus, full camera, and people rewarded him with captain's armband. Sit this conversation out, Chelsea Football Club. You have no business talking about it. Just sit this one out.
Honorable Minister, off your mic, off your mic.
Off your mic.
All right, let me take messages. This is Felix from Mendip, Maryland. Good morning, Felix. He says this 19-point agenda from Eric Shell. Now, wow, I saw that and I said this is not a big deal for
I
any
didn't want
functioning
to even
system.
address. I didn't even want to address that nonsense. I didn't even want to address it. How dare you? You walked the team backwards. You finished third place. You are giving 19-point agenda. I was even ashamed. One Ghanaian pointed out that it's only in Nigeria that 24-hour power supply will be a demand. I put my hand in my head like this. Because truly the power supply, especially in the past week, has been terrible.
Abysmal power supply, really.
Abysmal. They
When
now
you
put
think
it in
about it.
agenda. I said, this one has become public disgrace.
Anyway, Felix's message further reads, I can't wait to watch Arsenal versus Spurs and other fixtures this weekend. I hope Real Madrid also wins their game on the weekend. Thank you for that message, Felix. Nathan Unjoku from Kirikiri Town says, City's results on Saturday will tell if the Gunners' draw was a point gained or points lost either ways. They were pathetic and don't deserve to be champions. And Tega, has FIFA given their ruling on the DR Congo versus Nigeria saga? I don't think they have. I haven't seen any updates on that in the
I
last
don't
couple of
think they
days.
have, and I haven't, and I haven't. You notice I haven't been saying anything about it because I don't think Congo did not tell you that they don't have citizens, so I don't know what your problem is.
All right, Stan. Good morning to you. Stan says, Tega, which one is she beats the living hell out of her like a thief who stole phone in Capital Village? Just say she won. Haba. You think she'll
No,
be
no,
happy
no.
if she's listening to you right now?
I want to let people know she beat her so badly. She beat the living daylight out of the young lady.
Oh, man. Anyway, from the room says that guy was actually very smart to use his shirt to cover his nose and mouth. That's the only reason why the investigation is taking this long. But it's very obvious that what he said was very, very bad. Because if he wasn't trying to hide anything, he wouldn't have tried to cover his mouth. Racism has no place in football. Agreed. This is Zikolo. Smooth morning, Ayo and Teka. Zikolo, how you doing? He says Man City won the EPL in January at the transfer market. I have said it repeatedly that Arteta lacks the mentality to win trophies. I keep saying the team he used to win the FA Cup when he came was Unai Emery's team. He's as afraid to win as his players. He has finished his job at Arsenal, and someone else needs to come in and finish the job. No, Arteta all the way, please. Arteta all the way. He has to be there. All right, let me run to YouTube. Elke Aderogba says Tega is getting more and more established as a soothsayer. She said before the end of February and March, Arsenal will begin to crumble. I never knew Arsenal hate was this much. Everyone celebrated the draw. Padre Pio says, Arteta making my day. David beating Goliath again, and that draw was a loss for Arsenal as far as I know. Arsenal Bottling Company, ABC. I laugh in Tega's voice. And Emmanuel says, Tega initially said January, but it's okay. I cannot defend that outing against Wolves. Totally abysmal, but it isn't all doom, and y'all can laugh. As my gaffer said, we'll do our talking on the pitch. Why didn't he talk on Wednesday? And Nandi
Exactly. He
Okereke
was
said
whispering on Wednesday.
UEFA should deploy a lie detector. Well, I don't know the legal basis for that, but we need to go. It's been a very interesting one, Tega.
All right. On that note, I want to thank you so much for sending your messages. Thank you for streaming on YouTube, and thank you for tuning into Smooth 98.1 FM to listen to the locker room. Remember, we are back to the weekend. You know how we
Oh,
do it.
yes.
Raise your two hands, cross your fingers, and pray that your team is not fodder for banter. Have a fantastic one.
Have a fantastic one, Tega. Great weekend. And of course, looking forward to the show on Monday. Thank you for being a part of the locker room on Smooth 98.1. The locker room will make a return on Monday at 8:15 a.m. right here on Smooth 98.1. My name is Ayo Kumi Kekiriek, and the Smooth Breakfast continues. Don't go anywhere.